Morning, welcome back. Here's a little update. The guy running this channel was not harmed after eating a Dubai chocolate from an office supply store. In fact, I think it made his immune system even stronger. Send the chef inside the Staples my compliments. So I've always found the topic of beauty standards very fascinating, as you can see from the extensive list of videos on my channel. Might it have something to do with younger me watching TV shows I definitely should not have seen as a child? Anyone remember Nip Tuck? That psychological thriller show about plastic surgery? Man, what was I doing? The word psychological wasn't even in my vocabulary yet. Till this day, the image of the lady getting fused to her couch because she sat on it for too long still haunts me. Getting into K-pop and East Asian media during my teen years might have contributed to my interest as well. This era of my life really helped me get into fashion and dressing better. Although, comparing myself to idols who are the pinnacle of beauty probably wasn't the healthiest thing to do. It was a very intriguing time, getting to look at so many faces and what people from other countries found attractive, when cosmetic procedures weren't as common compared to now. Whatever the reason for my weird pastime, all I know is that searching for the perfect face is on a lot of people's to-do lists. And with the power of anime, God, and social media on our side, we're closer than ever to achieving it. Now we have looks maxing communities, lunchtime Botox sessions, tons of beauty tutorials on how to preserve your youth for as long as possible, and so many resources to help min-max your facial features using golden ratios. Our modern day faces are a lot more symmetrical and technically more attractive. But at what cost? Well, for starters, there's a whole generation whose hobbies are doing their 10-step anti-aging routine before catching the bus till their elementary school. And tech bros who have spent millions of dollars trying to biohack some extra years to their lifespan. Going out to eat with someone like this sounds like a real nightmare.
Do you have any microgreen suspensions or energy boosting IV drips? Diet says I can't have any oils, carbs, fats, or sunlight exposure. They make me old.
Okay, I'm looking into the future. In about 60-70 years, all our senior citizens will have the faces of plastic Barbie dolls, with no skills or hobbies because they spent their whole lives stressing over looking young forever. They'll be sitting in their rocking chairs, mewing, handing out retinols and LED masks to their grandkids. I noticed this trend of everyone starting to look the same when scrolling through social media. Lots of good-looking people online for sure, but if you told me to describe their face, I'd have a hard time doing it. According to science, one of the main reasons for someone's attractiveness is facial symmetry. The closer the two sides of your face look, the better you'll appear. Since our brains like to work smarter and not harder, it likes to create shortcuts so it can spend more time in autopilot mode. Patterns, things it can easily recognize, it scratches that itch of everything being in order just right. You'll notice a lot of celebrities we find conventionally attractive will have pretty balanced facial symmetry. Not to the point where the two sides are completely the same, since that crosses into creepy, uncanny valley territory. But it's usually somewhere between the 90 to 95% mark. There's the belief that back in the day, symmetry was a good indicator of good health and genes, helping you decide which one of your fellow cave people you want to take on a date. Although in present times, there's not a whole lot of evidence suggesting that people with asymmetrical faces aren't just as healthy. Great news for all of us who always have the issue of having one big eye and one small eye whenever you get a photo taken.
Oh, who are you?
Man, prehistoric relationships must have been rough with what little ways they had to communicate with each other. Me give rock, you give flower, we eat dinosaur for brunch. I'm so glad we have help. Thanks to our sponsor, the Paired app, a relationship care app that helps couples stay connected in their day-to-day life. When you start a relationship with someone, you're hopping on the exciting, yet slightly terrifying, roller coaster of emotions. There'll be lots of great moments with plenty of highs and dips when everyone's patience will be tested. The Paired app is like a relationship wingman who helps couples get closer by providing daily questions, quizzes, and little challenges meant to be done as a duo. You both get to learn new things about each other, which eventually turns into a timeline of cute moments you get to look back on. I like how it bridges the gap for people who are awkward when talking about feelings. Why you look at me like that? Okay, I'll admit, in previous relationships, I wasn't the best at speaking my mind without getting overwhelmed. Dealing with emotions, especially with another person, it's scary. If I had the Paired app back in the day, it would have made those conversations go a lot more smoothly. It makes communication a more fun and easy experience, without the scary feeling of, uh-oh, we need to talk. Even if you've been together for decades or you're in the beginning stages, the Paired app has something for everyone. It's all backed by real relationship therapists and research, so you know the advice you're getting is valid. If you're ready to take better care of your relationship, click the link in the description and get a 7-day free trial and 25% off Paired Premium. I got inspired to dive into this topic after watching these two creators talk about how Instagram face has shifted the beauty standard into what it is now. Since everyone's trying to achieve the same perfected look using cosmetic procedures, our algorithms have essentially rewired our brains to get dopamine whenever we see specific facial features. Now that we can compare ourselves to everyone at any time of the day on social media, if we don't like what we see, we can print out a picture of a hot person, show it to a surgeon, they do a little copy and paste magic. 2 days later, you're walking out the clinic with someone else's face, who got their face from someone else. What in the faceception is this?
In the space of a few decades, how did we go from everybody looking so deliciously unique and like themselves to this monolithic Instagram face? I'm not saying beauty standards haven't always existed or been perpetuated by media, but I think recently it has gone onto another level.
Instagram face wins because it hacks the algorithm's logic and your brain's biology. And I just feel like it has flattened women into carbon copies. Everyone has the same lips, the same razor sharp jawlines, the same cheeks, and same dead eyes, all because conformity is profitable.
If you take the most attractive people from 30 years ago and put them next to current beauty standards, pretty sure there'll be lots of, looks mid, it's over for them comments, cause their face too round, nose too big, lips too thin, too many freckles. But the thing is, it's these distinct features that give faces the extra seasoning to make them more memorable. I saw this post that gave well-known female celebrities all modern beauty features to see what they would look like, which means fuller lips, fuller brows, sharper jawlines, smooth ageless skin. Everyone ended up looking like a generic, bold glamour filter. This could be any influencer you'd see on Instagram or TikTok. That ain't Tilda Swinton from Snowpiercer. Great movie, by the way. Just watched it last month. That's Tilda swindling you for cash, like one of those fake celebrity DMs. But not the one I got from Hugh Jackman. He's so obsessed. If everyone ends up using the same face blueprint with all the right symmetrical measurements, eventually we'll all just be considered normal looking and kind of boring. We're gonna start seeking out those unique, unattractive features so we can tell people apart. I really noticed this same face effect in the K-pop industry as someone who's been a fan for 2 decades. Nowadays, when new 8 to 12 member groups debut, everybody perfect, with great faces. Great gowns, beautiful gowns, but it's almost too perfect that the only way I can really tell them apart is by their hairstyles and clothes. Even though this industry is known for idols getting some sort of work done, there is at least more variation to the types of faces we'd see 20 years ago. Then again, the standard is so high, it's smashed through the roof, and if it's not met, the audience won't hesitate to call you chopped. There's a popular phrase you'll often hear, "You're not ugly, you're just broke," which has sold us the idea you can achieve your dream appearance if you have the money. There was a phase when everyone was getting filler to give their faces a more full appearance or to shift a few things around. In terms of cosmetic procedures, it's one of the more affordable and easier ones to get. The pain is pretty tolerable and there's almost no recovery downtime involved. It does seem like the beauty wage gap has widened even more after the newest trend got released. Dropping $10,000 for a deep plane facelift, a la Kris Jenner, Lindsay Lohan, and Christina Aguilera. These female celebrities just showed up one day, looking at least 20 years younger, when not too long ago, they looked closer to their actual age. And of course the compliments came rolling in about how young and good they looked, since it doesn't look like obvious plastic surgery, along with how society hates when women start aging. They do look very rejuvenated, don't get me wrong. It's just wild how we have the technology to transform a 70-year-old mama into a girl behind you.
Mama, a girl behind you.
What are you?
I'm kinda scared for the future. Hopefully we don't expect our seniors to look like hot 40-year-olds when they're 70. Also, my ego won't be able to handle getting mogged by a group of mall-walking grandpas. Not all of these suddenly younger-looking celebs admitted to getting a facelift done, but there's a lot of plastic surgeons speculating they went under the knife to some extent. I mean, you can sort of just tell by looking, this ain't the result of getting 8 hours of sleep and drinking more water.
You know, if I had to guess what was done, I think there are a few options. One could be she had a ponytail lift by my friend Chachi Keo. Her eyebrows are in really nice positions, subtle but lifted. She may have had a trim of the upper eyelids as well, and a little pinch of skin out from the lower lids. And it looks to me like she probably had a deep plane face and neck lift. And my guess is some fat grafting maybe a lip lift. She already had kind of a short upper lip, but it seems just slightly accentuated in her post-operative pictures. Whatever she had, the work is beautiful. She looks lovely, as she always had. And congratulations, Anne, on a beautiful job and being a beautiful and talented woman.
At some point, it became pretty common to be open about all the cosmetic work you got done when it came to fillers, Botox, and small tweaks here and there. But once it became accessible to everyone, where it wasn't an exclusive club anymore, the age of expensive, secret plastic surgery is starting to make the rounds again. Cause what's gonna set the 1% apart if everyone has access to affordable fillers to change their appearance? The average person doesn't have an extra 10K lying around and can afford to take a month off to recover. Fillers as a cosmetic procedure is getting a little dated now, as we're seeing celebrities dissolve previous fillers to get facelifts instead. The class divide keeps getting bigger, and Anne Hathaway made her way back into the past to take back her old face. Speaking of time travel, period pieces have become a major topic of discussion, specifically how modern actors have enhanced their faces to the point where the audience can tell, this is someone who is open-minded, owns an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and parties in the Hollywood Hills. Even if actors are extremely talented, it really takes you out of the 1800s immersion when characters show up with full sets of veneers and like they just walked out of a Sephora.
Mother, no! I will not be wed to him. I don't care how large the dowry is. I don't love him.
Before the era of Instagram face, people considered the 2005's Pride and Prejudice movie a masterclass in casting. All the actors looked like they were plucked straight from old-timey England. Keira Knightley's last name isn't Knightley for nothing. We got to see charming, natural teeth that weren't totally straight. Faces were also more expressive. You'd actually see creases and forehead wrinkles when actors would act. Mad Men is a 2007's TV show set in the 60s that also nailed their casting. If you told me everyone here smells like cigarette smoke and have been day drinking since 9 in the morning, I'd believe it. I know Bridgerton isn't meant to be historically accurate. For me, every time I see these characters, it looks like they're people from today doing a cosplay. Once social media and beauty filters started taking over, lips, eyebrows, and hairlines got fuller, jawlines became more chiseled. Now it's a little harder to cast a believable set of characters for movies and shows set in different decades. Perfect teeth is one of the biggest tells someone is living in 3008. But there is a difference between natural looking teeth with imperfections and Hollywood teeth, which has sort of become the norm for A-list actors. When the chompers are a little too white and a tad too symmetrically cut, chances are those are veneers. It was really noticeable in the show Daisy Jones and the Six. Something about the characters having looks-max teeth in the 70s didn't sit too well with audiences.
A lot of people said that the actors' faces didn't feel like they belonged in the 70s. Particularly Camilla Morone, a lot of people said that her face just doesn't look like it belongs in that decade because she looks too much like an Instagram model.
Teeth can also give your face a lot of character. It's easier to remember someone's smile when they have distinct features rather than a set of perfectly straight veneers. Sam Claflin, who's actually in Daisy Jones and the Six, and Miley Cyrus were known to have crooked teeth, which made their smiles really memorable and charming. Aesthetically, their teeth look good. Nothing wrong with fixing things about yourself if that's what you want to do. But you do kind of wonder when someone says they're getting a cosmetic procedure done for themselves, how much of their decision was influenced by outside sources. It's a given. People will comment on your appearance if it looks a little too weird for their liking. It's gonna be weird when all the newer generations will only get to see movies with smartphone face actors. Next thing you know, they're going up to their parents and calling them chopped. We've gotten used to everyone getting some type of work done, we don't even realize how scary and intense these procedures can be. How easy does it seem to get a facelift when celebrities show up every 5 years with a new face? You see all these people post their 1-minute videos of their drastic before and afters without the grueling recovery process or the complications that might have occurred. Anytime you go under the knife, there's always a risk, no matter how big or small. The concept of medical tourism, where people fly overseas to get a bunch of work done, is so normalized now. Flying to Turkey for a hair transplant veneer combo is considered a fun 3-week vacation, and everyone goes home with the same haircut. Of course, some countries are more experienced with specific procedures and have better technology to give you better results. But oh boy, no one really mentions if something were to happen when you're overseas, it can be a huge legal mess. South Korea is known as the plastic surgery capital of the world, which has given them a very positive reputation as the place to go if you want to get work done. And whenever there's an opportunity for money to be made, scammers will start coming out of the woodworks to take advantage. They know medical tourism is really hot right now, so companies will invest a lot of money into marketing to look reputable on social media. Then they'll boast about their clinic in South Korea, run by South Korean doctors, with South Korean training, with a South Korean spouse to draw people in. Except when you show up exhausted after your 20-minute flight, you might run into the issue of your surgeon being a ghost surgeon, which is when someone other than the person you hired comes in to do the operation. In South Korea, this became common in the 2010s due to rising plastic surgery demand and medical tourism. The goal of this business model is to make as much money as possible by having dentist A, nurse B, and librarian C do the operation, but they'll still charge you plastic surgeon rates. This can also happen with hair transplants. They're so common now, but no one really talks about the sketchy practices behind the scenes. Patients may receive a consultation from a doctor and be under the impression they'll handle the transplant, only to find out that's not the case. Many men traveling to Turkey for their hair transplant may not realize a nurse or a technician lacks the necessary credentials to treat them. And while inspections from the health ministry do take place in Turkey, inspectors are more than willing to take bribes in exchange for a warning that an official inspection is coming. Even if you go to a reputable clinic, there's always the chance for human error. Things might end up being way more complicated because you got something done in another country.
I went to Korea to get a blood blister removed from my chest before a wedding, and I went to a pretty well-known and famous skin clinic. I was messaging with them and they were like, yeah, we can remove it, no problem. Like, we can laser it off. So I paid for it, got it lasered off, and I left Korea 2 days later. It's been a month since I left Korea, and the blood blister came back, and it's 5 times bigger than it was. It bleeds constantly. I have to wear a band-aid over it. I can't wear a bikini. I can't go swimming. I saw a dermatologist about it in the US, and he told me that they used the wrong laser and they shouldn't even have attempted removing it with the type of technology that they had. And now I have to pay hundreds of dollars more to fix a more serious problem in the US.
The goal isn't to shame people for getting work done so they can fit in. We just gotta be more aware of what we're getting ourselves into. Trends come and go, there's scams around every corner. Make sure you do your research and try not to fall into peer pressure. The best way to reset the brain rot after doom scrolling for too long is to go outside and interact with real-life civilians, who aren't a bunch of filtered pixels on a screen. It's amazing how much it helps. Sure, the cashier scanning your groceries isn't the most pleasing to look at, according to your brain, but at least you can remember who they are by their unique features. Their strange, gray complexion, their bald, shiny head, large bulging eyes, pointy ears, and gummy smile with only 2 sharp incisor teeth. Wait a minute. Nosferatu! Have a good day, try not to be dumb, and see you in the next one.